Hey there on the YouTube, welcome back, my disciples, to a special edition of the tutorial series. A little bit of an announcement video here. Be prepared to have your mind blown and get hype, get much hype. So first thing is something I've been planning on doing for a while, but nothing ground shaking, but from now on, I'm going to be doing all my drawings on a screen like this with a black background and then light colors. And that should be quite a bit more legible. I mean, I can't do anything about my shitty handwriting, but at least I can make the text itself, the lines themselves appear easier to read. And it looks cool. It's got like a kind of a neon effect going on. I got this thing here, my palette, which I sometimes used, and I can like write like this. Yeah, it looks cool. I like this. I like this a lot. I got the idea watching I don't know, like the New Boston, or I think it was actually the Khan Academy. Watching some Khan Academy lectures, and this is way better. So we're going to do it like this. We're going to go blackboard, old school, back to grade school. So that's number one. Number two is I got a couple of things that I want to square away, a couple of pieces of unfinished business in the platformer here. Back whenever it was, we made this rectangle class. I believe it was the lesson 21, I'm going to say. I don't know, 20 or 21, something. Whenever we did collision. And we made our nice rectangle class. We made it a template. All good up. I think we made it first, and then later on we made it a template. Anyways, the important thing is I added this conversion operator. And I kind of fucked it up. I made it so that it can convert to any other type of rectangle. So we can convert from any type of rectangle to any other type. So I made the template parameter T2, and I put it all in here, and then I fucking made this an int, which like defeats the whole purpose of doing that. This should also be obviously T2. I hope some of you caught me on that, and give yourselves a pat on the back if you did. Another thing, if you haven't already noticed, is I'm using Visual Studio Express 2013 now. And that is what we're going to be using in the future. In the next proper tutorial video that I create, I'm probably going to devote just a couple of minutes to, I don't know, maybe showing you how to download it. Fuck. You probably can figure that out for yourself. But, yeah, I will make an official, I don't know, thing where I say, okay, we're using 2013 now. But I've been using it for a while, and I like it. I don't like the Metro style, but it's got lots of good features. It runs a little bit, it lags a little bit in processing the code for IntelliSense and stuff, or auto-correcting, whatever you call it. But it's good, And the best thing is it supports, it partially supports C++ 11, so we're gonna be going over a little bit of that stuff too. So anyways, 2013. We're using it in the future, in the near future. Next thing I want to talk about, it's a little thing I forgot about in the last video when we were doing scrolling. I described a couple of uses for the viewport camera sort of constitution, the program design thing that I showed you, and I thought of one really good use for that system, and then I totally forgot to say it in the video, so I'm gonna say it right here. I'm gonna go over it right here. So what you do is you have your viewport and camera. You get a second viewport and a second camera. That's your first thing. There's something cool in Visual Studio 2013. Maybe it was in the old one, I just never knew it, but you can toggle between your header and your implementation file just by right-clicking. That's sweet. I'm going to use that a lot if I remember. All right. So, anyways, you got your port and your camera. Now, your two ports, you make them both point to graphics, of course, but you make one the rectangle, the top half of your screen, and one the rectangle, the bottom half. And then your cameras will, of course, point to their respective ports. And I just set this camera here to a certain position. It's camera 2. And as normal, we make our camera 1 follow our character, and then we draw character and the world. We draw everything through camera 1 and camera 2 into our 2 separate viewports. And if you do that, can you guess what happens? Let's take a look. Let's hope it doesn't give me any errors. It shouldn't. Fucking hurry up, dude. Jesus Christ. There we go. Okay, I'll put this back into the world. So now we have 2 views on the world. But watch this. Check this out. So camera 1 is following my character like it should. Camera 2 is just chilling out. It's not moving at all. The character can go right off the screen and it won't help. Let me watch camera 1 so I can like go off. Nah, fuck you. Fuck you, shitlord. Okay, now I'm gone. Look, I'm still here. Don't forget me. So yeah, what this gives us is it gives us a kind of a split screen situation here. You can get split screen gaming going by having a separate camera and viewport for the top and bottom. And of course the second camera is just sitting here because I don't have a second player to lock it onto, but you can imagine, you know, having another character and like a separate, what do we got here? Oh, fuck you. Fuck that. I'm thinking of a separate sprite controller. Sprite controller. Keyboard? Now I can't remember where everything was. Whatever. Anyways, you'd have a separate sprite controller for your separate characters. Maybe one could be a gamepad controller and one's a keyboard controller. And then your camera would follow your respective characters as they move around in the world. So that's one really awesome use of the viewport and the camera thing. So those are the 2 things that I wanted to get out of the way with respect to the platformer. And there's a reason for this. And that reason is that I am starting a new series. Yeah, we're starting, I'm going to call it, drum roll, the Advanced series. Advanced. Let's see if I can spell that right. Advanced. Yeah, I did it. So, yeah, we're going to have a new series starting. Basically, I'm kind of getting tired of making the platformer. And to be truthful, completely honest, the tutorials have done basically what I wanted, which was I introduced a bunch of C++ topics, a bunch of object-oriented concepts, and I wanted a vehicle to kind of show you how you can put them into practice and actually use them to make something. And I've demoed a lot of the stuff. I've given you guys a lot of semi-real world applications via the platformer, but I'm starting to get a little tired of it, and I know a lot of you guys are just chomping at the bit. You're just waiting for me to start on 3D. And to be honest, you know, I love that whole like trope of the Karate Kid with Mr. Miyagi, and the Karate Kid wants, you gotta teach me how to sweep, and he's like, no, you gotta wax on, wax off, and it's kind of cool. I like that. But to be honest, I too want to teach you how to sweep the leg, and so we are gonna be moving on to 3D stuff, but not directly. I wouldn't let you guys off that easily. We're gonna transition to 3D with a kind of a fairly simple game project or game demo thing. I don't know what you call it. A game thing that we're going to work through. And that is going to be the first part of the advanced series. And the game is going to be 2D. But it's going to contain things about it's going to have rotation. And maybe slightly more realistic physics and collision than what we did before. There's going to be lots of geometry and rotation and geometry. Things that go hand in hand with that are vectors, vector math, and matrices. Right, vectors are just simple or special case of matrices, but we'll get into that later. Don't wanna blow my load here all in this video, but yeah, there's lots of stuff that we're gonna cover, and this is gonna be kind of like the foreplay for before when we go into real 3D. So this is we're gonna bridge the gap between 2D and 3D in this next series that I'm creating. And that is where we're heading. Beginner, I was basically teaching you about C, programming in general, but mainly only C topics. Procedural or functional programming? No, procedural. I think C is classified as procedural, but I don't know. Who the fuck cares? Do you care? No, you don't fucking care. And then the intermediate was all about C++, about object-oriented programming, right? And now we're going to advance. We're basically beyond learning about programming languages. So now we're going to get into more about graphics theories in terms of like geometry and rasterization and calculations of lighting, texturing. And we're going to learn lots of the math that goes hand in hand in that vector algebra. And, matrix multiplication, stuff about trigonometry. And I'm not going to be, this is going to be like a super detailed math course. But I'm also not just going to use this stuff without explaining. I'm going to give a basic explanation of everything that I introduce, all the math concepts. I'll treat you like, maybe like you have junior high graduate level of math skills, or maybe intermediate high school, and we'll go from there. But it's also not going to be super detailed, so you might have to if you lose your way halfway through, can't keep up, you're going to have to go and Google search this shit and do a little of your own research and catch up. So yeah, math, lots of math, and lots of graphics as we make our way into 3D. Just to give you an idea of what we're going to be doing here, I've got... it's going to be something like this game. Well, it's not going to really... The gameplay is going to be similar. You've got like a ship, and it's moving around. It rotates, and you activate thrusters to accelerate in directions. I don't know if we're going to have shooting or anything. It's not going to be super detailed. I don't want to get bogged down in the details of making the game, because I'm mainly want to teach you about, geometry, graphics, math things that you're going to need to do 3D. But we'll spend a little time to make it into something resembling a game engine, or the beginnings of a game engine. So that's a thing. That's a thing that will transpire in the future. And I think that's all I really wanted to say. Just some predictions. I will not, accept responsibility for any of these predictions, for the accuracy of them. They may be wildly inaccurate, but I'm thinking probably 6 to 8 episodes, 6 to 8 videos for doing the 2D stuff, the advanced 2D. And after that, when we're moving on to 3D software, of course. I mean, all we've been doing is software graphics up until this point. And then there I'll be tackling, 3D stuff. We'll be taking all these concepts we learned in the 2D lessons, the advanced 2D, and we'll be applying them into a third dimension. And after that will be 3D hardware stuff. Wow, look at that. Beautiful. So yeah, that is what is happening. And I guess the convenient thing about me starting a new series of advanced tutorials is it's going to start from advanced, lesson 1. And that is that, I can still add lessons onto the end of the intermediate if I ever feel like it. So I don't consider, the platformer lessons finished per se. There's lots I could still go on about. We can expand on the engine. There's tons of topics that I had planned. And if I feel like it, it's totally possible I might continue on with that. And I mean, if enough people are clamoring for it, I might, give in to the pressure of the masses and, make a tutorial. But so it's not technically dead, the platform series, but it's probably going to be on the back burner for a while. Because I'm super into this all this math shit right now, and I can't wait to go over all this stuff with you guys. It's gonna be a lot of math in this stuff. I'm not gonna lie to you, more math than we've done so far. But in the big picture, it's still not crazy hard stuff. I mean, there's gonna be no differential equations or integral calculus, no complex numbers, no crazy transforms like Laplace transform or Z transform, nothing insane. Just your basic vector, what do you call it? Vector geometry, vector algebra, some simple trigonometry. So, it's harder than what we've done before, but in the big picture, this ain't the tough shit, man. Go take a few years of, electrical engineering or mechanical engineering. Learn about your fluid mechanics or your field theories, then come back to me and tell me about, how hard your problems with math are. Until then, I don't want to hear your bitching. You got to suck it up and you got to do it. Because if you want to do 3D or even stuff like that thing I just showed you, you're going to have to learn some math. And if you don't want to do that, well then, I mean, enough probably to get your feet off the ground by now. You don't have to watch these videos. But for the rest of us that don't want to limit ourselves to, tile grids and simple straight line mathematics, come on with me. Come aboard the Chili train and let's derp out in style. So, I didn't really have a plan on how I'm going to end this. I didn't even really have a list of things I was going to say. I'm probably forgetting a bunch of shit that I wanted to say in the video. But it's not important. What is important is that in the next week or 2 weeks maximum, you're going to see a new video, and it's going to be in your subscription box, and it's going to be Chili DirectX tutorial something advanced. So I don't know how the titles go. I just copy and paste them every time I make a new video and change the numbers. But it's going to say advanced in it somewhere, and it's going to be epic. So stay tuned for that. Get hype. Get much hype. And I will see you guys later. Or on the forums, because I'm always on the forums. You come visit me. Say hi to Chili. Give me some love. Until then, later.